If you'd like to unmute yourself, we're offering everybody one question. Jessica?
Hi, thank you so much for your time and for taking our questions today. I wanted to ask why you think Trump has retained such a dominant position in the polls, and if you and the other candidates need to kind of put a finer point on the indictments piling up against it, and how they sort of affect his electability. Why don't you talk about that more?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think that clearly there's been a change in some of the polling since the Alvin Bragg case was brought. I think that's just irrefutable. But I also think over the summer, this is not something that the typical primary voter is keying in on very, very closely yet. I think that there are some of the activists, and we're obviously working very hard to corral people in Iowa and New Hampshire who are really good movers and shakers and organized. We're having great success doing that. But I think it's going to be, as we get into the fall, we're going to start having debates. I think all those things are going to cause voters to start looking at, okay, it's not just about who I know, who I knew before. I want to look at these candidates. I want to see who's the best to put our party forward. And so I think that there's definitely, and even in some of the polling that gets put out there, and I've got a lot of problems with a lot of it because, I ran for re-election in Florida and I had polls come out saying I was only up 1 or 2 points. I even had some say I was down. We won by over 1.5 million votes. And so some of the stuff that gets put out, I think a lot of times is to drive narratives rather than being really, really strong. However, even those will say that about half of Trump's supporters are considering other candidates. And so he's got a base, but it's not enough to win a plurality in the primary right now if you go by those numbers. So I think there's a lot of voters that are up for grabs. I think that they're going to kick the tires. What I found is when I'm going around, people, they know I'm governor. They know I've done a good job as governor. They don't know very much about me. They don't know that I'm a blue-collar kid who had to work minimum wage jobs to get through school and make some of himself. They don't know I volunteered to serve in the military and volunteered to deploy to Iraq alongside SEAL Team 1. They don't necessarily know that I'm a father with 3 young kids, and that's something that's very important to me and my wife. And they know that we've done good in Florida, but they don't necessarily know all the successes we've had. And then they want to hear about your vision for America. And when we've done that, we've been able to get a lot of support. But I think that's something that you got to build over time. You don't just snap your fingers. And some people said, well, Trump's up. What do you need to do to get up like that? Honestly, like if somehow I was up tomorrow in a national poll, that would not be sustainable all the way through the primary. These things kind of go up and down. We're going to start having some flashpoints here, starting with the debate, and things are going to start ramping up. But I definitely think you're going to see more voters start to key in more, and then just ask the question, what's the best pathway forward, for the party and the country? Clearly, there are some Republican primary voters who have already made up their mind they're not going to vote for Donald Trump in the primary, and it's a significant number. There's some that say they're going to vote for Trump no matter what. And then there's, I think, a lot of voters who are up for grabs. They're America First voters. I think they like a lot of what President Trump did as president. They like a lot of what I did as governor once they are informed of that. And so the question for them is, even if you appreciate some of President Trump's accomplishments, how do we get this going forward where we can make it about the future of the American people rather than focusing and relitigating some of this stuff from the past? How do we get it to where the average voter knows we're focusing on your family and your community's well-being and your kids' education and safe streets? And if it's on those issues, I think we're going to be in really, really good shape. So clearly, if you have a candidate like me, we're not going to have to focus on some of the controversies of the past. We can focus on our vision for the future. Now, some of that, of course, does involve bringing accountability for things that may have happened in the past. That's part of that is COVID accountability. Part of that is ending weaponization of DOJ and FBI, of course. I mean, those are really, really important things. The end, but I think the general thrust has got to be for our party to win about the American people's future. And I'm a vessel for this. As president, I'll be the leader. but it's not going to be focusing on me. It's going to be focusing on what the American people need so that we get this country on the right track and we can stop our nation's decline. And that's what I'm committed to do. And we're going to take that message in small towns and big cities, wherever we need to go, we're going to do that. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. But I think I think you guys will see in New Hampshire, they've already seen it in Iowa. We're a little bit ahead in Iowa of where we are in New Hampshire in terms of organization, but we're getting close. We will outwork every candidate. We will work to win every vote. And I don't know if it's going to be 300, 400,000 people that vote in this New Hampshire primary, something in that range. I hope to get in front of, shake hands, or at least have them see me on TV at some point over the next 6 months. And if we're able to do that, then I think we're going to be very successful.